This is the J.A. and Lena May show, 1959. This is Miss Janice Harris at the plate. This is taken at Herbert and Catherine's home in Mayville. She just hit a home run. Here she is striking out, but she's got a good fielder behind her by the name of Rick Harris. Notice the lefty, but he struck out. Here is the Oldham Harris clan. That's Grandpa Oldham next to Grandma Harris, and next to her is Ronnie. Catherine is carrying Risa. Same group a little later, a little lighter. Here's Bonnie's in the picture now. Bonnie again with her fly wide open. Two handsome couples. This is Uncle Harry and his wife, of course. Grandpa Oldham, Jackie in the background, Glenn Stroud's wife in front. This is Glenn Stroud and his mother and his wife Peggy and two kids. Major Harris and his sister and brother and cousin. The Julians, and Stacy with a mouthful of fists, fingers. The Harris brothers. This is Stacy with her gloves. J.A. and Lena May again. Now we go into the Bonnie show. I forget what day this was. I think it was the day before I got my Mercedes. In 1959, May sometime, I guess. I guess I'm standing in a hole. The loud focus. Isn't that lovely? Somebody shot us through with bullets. Isn't she so pretty there? That's a virgin stock, and that's where Audrey Hepburn and Mel Ferrar were honeymooning also. This is Bonnie in Venice, St. Mark's Cathedral in the background, dodging the pigeons. Still in Venice, out for a stroll. This is in Monte Carlo, Princess Grace's palace. This is Bonnie in Spain. I can't remember the place. And Bonnie in Sorrento. Again, Bonnie in the gardens in Sorrento. Let me see if I can focus this. There it is. This is Bonnie in Saudi Arabia with her gazelle. Not that dark, but Bonnie is riding or driving the horses in Rome with her friend Allie, I think it is. That's part of the Abkhaz scenery. This, I believe, also was in Sorrento. This must be Paris. And it's cold. Now we're back on the Nile. This is an Alexandria garden in Egypt. This is in Damascus with our guide. This is one of the holy mosques. Oh, I got that wrong. But that's the Matterhorn. And Miss B in her red sweater. There she is. She started to climb it and gave up.
A la Julie Andrews.
Yeah. This is in, I think, in Montreux. Back in Saudi Arabia, and Bonnie's riding, I think, one of our friends' horse, Ellie Hogendorn. This is Bonnie at Cordoba in Spain. Same place, profile. There she is, she's going out to try to pick up those stones. That's Stonehenge. There she is where Will Shakespeare and Anne Hathaway lived. Notice the thatched roof of the house. Now we're in Germany, and this is this is the Eagle's Nest, Hitler's hideout. There's a couple pictures of her up there. That was a cold, dreary day. And you see she's cold. This is back in Saudi Arabia. Fashion show. This is at some airport, and I don't know where. Again, a fashion plate. Saudi Arabia. This is her school, believe it or not. She had three students. There she is, upside down along the Rhine. That's the place we stopped as we were driving along the Rhine. Now she's taking pictures back in Saudi Arabia, sand dunes. If you want to see it moving. That again is in Damascus. And there's I guess it's a banyan tree. And this is in the Nile Delta. Bonnie and our friends, Bill Hogendorn and Carol, what was Carol's name? They're on the patio of the St. George Hotel in Beirut. Bonnie and Carol trying to lift those stones with that little guy. Look at how tall he is compared to them. This is in Baalbek in Beirut, in Lebanon. This is in Lebanon. Bill Hogendorn, Bonnie, and Carol. Bougainvillea plant. Bonnie and Carol are trying to harvest or do something with it. There they are in a date It's not all that bad out there. Having lunch. Here's Bonnie doing the two-step, see, we had our own private chef cook for us on the beach there in Saudi. Bill, Ellie, and Kara. A twosome. This is in the backyard of the Hogendorn's apartment. Bill on his horse. Ellie. Bonnie playing badminton. That's our apartment. First apartment that we had. There's our backyard. I'm reading. Around the patio of the club in Atke. There's a rather thin HWL and Arab town of Hoopel. Jack taking some pictures. This is Cooping of the Colour at St. James Palace in London, probably about 1955. Pre-bombing. In the winter they wear the gray coats and not the red. They're going to their individual guard stations, their little striped boxes that they stand in. Here's one guard. This is in the summer of 1955 when Bonnie and I were married. It's a Trooping of the Colour.
And I'm sorry, it's not 1955. You didn't marry me until 1959.
One of those years.
It was summer when I was there in Salton, Trooping of the Colour. That's it. The red coats.
This is always done on the Queen's birthday, which is in June. And Bonnie and I were there at that time. Then we went to Scotland and back.
They're marching in step to music, too. You see, go down here.
But Scots or Irish pipers with their kilts and spats. Hardly ever is a nice day in London when they do this. And you can see the typical English people. Here comes again some Scots, and you can tell by the sprig of red in their bearskin hat that that's a particular regiment. Others wear green and blue and so forth. Behind this lady's head in the coach is the Queen Mother.
And Prince Charles, I think, was with her, as I recall, as a little boy.
Now, these are horse guards with the...
Daddy was behind people, as you can see.
We didn't get there early enough. There's the Queen.
Uh-huh. That's
And-
Queen
and
Elizabeth, riding a
behind-
side saddle.
Behind her is Prince Philip. In 1959, so 40 years ago. That's Buckingham Palace, the palace in downtown London. These guys are pretty lovely stuff.
The white horse,
these are dignitaries arriving before the ceremony.
That's with our car.
This is in Scotland. We went from London after the Trooping of the Colour to Scotland, and this is one of the back roads in Scotland, and it is really desolate. That's the main
Scottish
highway.
Highlands.
It's the main highway.
What are you doing?
Heavens, way in the back, where Rob Roy lived.
That's
You're just sitting there talking.
castle near,
Yeah, that's Balmoral. That's it. I think the Queen was in resident, but there should be a flag that would show that.
Scottish Highlands again. There. It's very desolate looking road.
One of the locks.
We tried to find the Loch Ness Monster every time.
But it's really desolate in the far back places, far back places. There's Bonnie gonna throw a stone down into the creek. And then we returned, and this is Stratford-on-Avon, and that's
Shakespeare's home.
Will's house. It's actually Anne Hathaway Scottish.
Well, I
So I
guess
guess
it
he
is.
was just a boarder or something, I don't know. Thatch roof.
His love was Anne Hathaway, wasn't it?
This again is Avon, Stratford-on-Avon.
The little town. Buildings are all quaint.
Church was falling down, I guess. There's our car right at the corner. This is Western Manor, and we stayed there one night.
Yes, that was lovely.
It was a hotel.
And of course, you know what that is, Stonehenge. Westminster Abbey and the old Big Ben.
This is,
Westminster? or-
no, it's at Windsor Palace. It's,
Oh, St. George's?
yeah, something or other, but it's at Windsor Palace. This is in Edinburgh. This is the Fortress of Edinburgh.
Highest point in town, the capital.
This is they still got modern arms there, cannons. We're Bonnie about ready to load that ball in the other cannon. And this is looking down from the ramparts there onto Edinburgh.
Just more of Edinburgh, I think all this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gates through the castle. Cambridge, is this Cambridge here?
Might be,
Possibly, that's part of Cambridge, yes.
Well, and this is an old Saxon church, about 700 AD, before the William the Conqueror, the Romans. This is in the Tower of London. It's all desolate like that.
It's where the crown jewels are kept.
More in the Tower of London. Now this is on the Gripsholm.
I guess that's all right.
I don't know where Bonnie is, I think fishing up with him. They were getting on board, ready to leave. That's a ship. The Gripsholm was a ship. It's a little tugboat that took us out. We're going down the fjord to out to the ocean. And there are other cruise liners, freighters probably. And that's a little ferry boat with front.
There we are for our first water drill, or what, or they have us put on your jacket to show you how to do it, and tell you to come to the main deck, and in case there's a problem on board, that's what you're supposed to do.
Which one is you?
That was right in the middle.
I don't know who I am, where I am.
Oh, yeah. And this was on June 21st.
May Day.
May Day.
It's May Day, it wasn't June 21st, it's May 20th.
Well, we got married, yeah. It was in June.
Talk to the camera, not each other.
You didn't get married in June.
Okay. This was a month after we got married. We got married in May.
Okay.
But this is the longest day of the year. They celebrated this.
Oh, yes, that was what it was, not May Day. That's the grip song.
I guess that's when we got off, or we were getting off.
Before we got on one.
These are extra, I think this is in Malta. This is in Malta or Sorrento, a Mediterranean style house.
I think this may be Malta, all right, the walls.
This is the Spanish Steps in Rome. Very famous architecture. Probably just one of the most photographed places in the world. This is a very fashionable shopping street, say behind me here, at the bottom of the Spanish Steps. Another shot of the Spanish Steps, probably if we waited to get some more light, it'd look pretty good. This is when we were in Rome, going out to Saudi. We went down in a horse-drawing carriage to this place, and I asked Scott later if he remembered the Colosseum, and he said, yeah, that was that pile of rocks. So this is the pile of rocks in Rome. This is what they call the wedding cake. It's done probably 1930 or so at the during the time of Mussolini. It's thought to be quite tasteless in architecture. The middle balcony there between the red and gray flag is where Mussolini used to give his speeches. This is part of the front of St. Peter's Cathedral in Rome. This is looking backwards from St. Peter's. Turned around the other way. Back to the pile of rocks. There's Miss Bonnie in the foreground admiring them. The rocks from the outside. This, I think, was taken from the top of the Colosseum, looking back over the city, and down in to the foreground is the Roman Forum. You can see some of the cathedrals or temples in the middle there, and then three columns of another temple below to the right. This again is in the Roman Forum. You can see it's much lower elevation-wise than the rest of the city, and the reason for that is just a continuous rubble that accumulates during the growth of the city. one time I knew what most of these were. I do know the three arches in the background is the bath of Count Casares. This is one of the Roman arches. The little lady pushing that stone to the right is my mother. This is the day that Bonnie and I arrived for the Olympics in Rome. This is 1960. I think that's her on the left. This is the springboard high diving event. We're held here. Nothing going on at the moment. This is the track place for the 100-yard dash that would come right straight down to us. You can see the lanes, and you can see the judges sitting saying on an angle up there. Each one had a different person to judge. There they're getting ready to go on the 400-meter dash starting, and they're staggered. You can see that the guy in the outside lane has to stay there until they come into the top of the stretch. And there they are, coming into the top of the stretch, coming down the, and there's the winners coming across the line. If I remember right, this guy in black is Peter Snell from New Zealand, and this was the Olympic mile, and he won that. When he won that, the first American was just coming into the turn, and the first American came in sixth, but he still broke the Olympic record, so you can see how much the winner really had broken the record. Another part of the Olympic getting late at night. This is Trevi Fountain, where 3 coins in the fountain is famous for. This is Bonnie's shot of the Alps, looking down on the Alps as she was, say, flying into Saudi Arabia for the first time, I believe. This is the Milan Cathedral. Bonnie saw the person who was the cardinal in charge of this cathedral later became the Pope. This is the Arno River in Florence. This again is a scene of Florence, and you can see the Florence Cathedral in the background. You can see why all the Italian paintings have these great famous clouds. This one a little out of focus, there we are. It's again back in Venice. These are guards of some sort, I don't know what. Venice again. St. Mark's Cathedral. People just congregate there all the time like that. There's restaurants around the outside. This is from up on St. Mark's, looking down to the plaza, and you can see the 2 columns in the distance there, and the lion, winged lion, that's a symbol of Venice. Out in the background are islands. Again, looking down on the plaza, you can see the restaurants over on the right and what eating. This is a special clock tower. It's hard to see. This is the Bridge of Sigh, S-I-G-H. The building on the left is the Doge's Palace. And when a prisoner was...
Intermission. Please get up and use the restroom and get some popcorn.
Come back in 10 minutes.
Come back in 10 minutes.
Did you feed her in enough? This is a continuation of our tour through Rome. Actually, it's in Venice, the Lido, a cathedral on an island off of the coast of Venice. This is a back canal in Venice. There are no roads, no cars or anything at all. Venice is mostly on islands. Transportation is by boats down canals like this. That's a gondolier in the front of this two-man gondola. More scenes in Venice and on canals. This now is the Amalfi Drive. This is the drive south of Rome to Naples. Along the line here is Pompeii and Sorrento. The road follows right along the seacoast here. You can see the edge of the road here drops right straight to the ocean. This is looking down on some boats from the highway. You can see houses below the highway and above the highway. The Amalfi Drive again. There's boats out in the harbor. The Amalfi Drive. This is the city of Sorrento. I think in the background is the mountain, is it Vesuvius, that erupted over
Pompeii.
Look at those buildings just claimed the edge of the cliffs there. This is in the garden. You can almost read the hotel. Excelsior Victoria. That's Victoria. It's where we stayed looking out from our room. It's a cliff. Sometimes there is some. Look at the luxury boats there. We're on a boat that took us out in the island, out to the island of Capri. Out at the island of Capri, you get into these little boats like this, and you go into the caves. Very, very picturesque. There's a road going in. Again, this is in Sorrento. Bonnie's lost, or I'm lost. Can't drive cars through some of the streets here. That's the U.S. Navy out in the Bay of Naples. It's an old fortress in the Bay of Naples. This is Pompeii, where they excavated All of this area, of course, was covered with volcanic ash. There are temples, what remains of them. These are little individual retail stalls for shops. And of course, they had it drained so that you could the water would drain out of the area. And there, for some reason, there's these blocks every once in a while in the middle of the drain, so you could step across from one street to the other, or sidewalk to the other. This villa wasn't too damaged. I thought I had pictures of inside. You can see some of the fresco work still there. Pompeii. Main train station. This now is in Brussels during the 1956 World's Fair. That is the Russian pavilion. This is inside the U.S. pavilion, which was more airy, the architecture was much better. Another pavilion, I'm not certain which one. There's the American pavilion. This is inside the Russian pavilion, and that's a model of Sputnik, the first satellite that went around. Again, the American pavilion. That's the symbol of the fair. Here's in Russia again. And there's the model of the capsule that they sent around, that the Russians sent around before John Glenn sent around the world. Okay, this is bullfight in Spain. This is the entrance of the matadors. These first guys on horses are the officials. The next three guys are the toreadors. Then behind them come their assistants, and then the people on horseback are picadors, and the ones with the padded around the horses, those are, they annoy the bull, get them started. So this guy is teasing the bull. He's what they call a picador. He'll reach over and put bandoliers, I guess they call it, in the bull's shoulder. See, that horse just dances in front of that bull and worries him. And there's the bull after the cape, and you see the bull's got his eye exactly on the cape, not on the guy. There, I'd made it pass. Poor bull. There's a picador. With the lance, they stick the bull behind in his shoulders, and it really makes the bull keep his head down. Pass. And there's the kill.
Yep.
This is downtown Madrid in Spain. It's the Circle Mayor. Must be 1955. Notice the vintage cars. and taxis. Taxis in downtown Madrid, cable cars or trolleys, electric trolleys. A man with his load of pots and whatever. Downtown Madrid. This was on Easter weekend when I flew out of The Hague. An artist. This is the flea market in downtown Madrid. One of the local lakes in the park. Very beautiful parks there. Park, it's probably at noon or so on Easter Sunday. Not many people out. A scene in Madrid. Part of the park system and lakes. Okay, this is after the people started arriving and so on. This is one of the shopping centers, like a flea market in Madrid. The white building behind the fountain is the Hotel Palace. At that time, it was one of the elite in the world. This is in a building in Cordoba, Spain. It's Moorish architecture. Again, at the Alhambra in Cordoba, Spanish or Arabic influence, Moorish influence, really. Again, the Alhambra. This is supposed to be one of the most beautiful buildings in the world. You can see why. This is looking from the approach to the city of, they call it Toledo, and with the cathedral in the background. And in that cathedral is some of the best of El Greco's paintings. This is across the valley from Toledo, an old fortress and the city around it in Spain. A cathedral tower, bell tower. This probably is the old Roman aqueduct, part of the Roman aqueduct. Back to the Alhambra in Cordoba. These are the gardens, part of the Alhambra. A Spanish town. This is, I can't recall the correct pronunciation, but it's something like Carcassonne. It's a walled city, probably Middle Ages. Spanish architecture. Produce market. Gardens in Alhambra again. Spain is really beautiful, you can see. This is from the top of the Palace Hotel, the main artery in Madrid. This was completely filled with people, shoulder to shoulder on Good Friday when I arrived there. And down at the far end is the Hilton Hotel, and our bus could only get that far, and it took me 2 hours to walk this distance just through the crowd. Now, this is in Paris, of course. It's the Arch of Triumph. It was 4th of July, and the French were celebrating with the U.S. 4th of July festivities. This is the U.S. delegation going to leave a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown is right underneath the arch. American veterans, I believe. Dignitaries arriving. Notre Dame from the left bank. The same. This walkway on the left, I'd say behind the trees, is just full of artists. You can see also on the right-hand side of that. How'd I get those pigeons? I don't know. This is Paris from, I think, Sacré-Cœur. Yeah, that's Sacré-Cœur with Espagne in front. Here's the artist. This, I believe, is the Cathedral of Chartres. It's supposed to have that round glass window is supposed to be one of the most famous in the world. That's it. I don't know, but I've got a picture from inside. This is Paris, of course, the Eiffel Tower. This is the entrance to the Louvre. It used to be a palace of Louis XIV, I believe. The Arch of Triumph again. This is the Madeleine. It's a cathedral. This is the Assembly, like the Capitol building in Washington, French Assembly. Eiffel Tower again. Champs-Élysées, the road that leads up to the Arch of Triumph from the Louvre. It's in backwards, so they can't spell right. These are two girls that worked in the Canadian Embassy in Holland. Looking at the Seine, one of the many bridges. Again, the bridges of the Seine. This is at Monte Carlo, the coast drive along Monte Carlo. There's our fortification. Monte Carlo again. This is the beach at Nice. It's not a sandy beach, it's a stony beach. But this is one of the foremost resort areas in southern France. This is the casino at Monte Carlo. There's Bonnie aiming a cannon out of the palace, Monte Carlo. The guard doing his duty. These are sailboats on in Geneva, Geneva, Switzerland. This again is back in Monte Carlo. There's somebody's yacht tied up, probably Prince Rainier's. There's Bonnie looking over down at the yacht wishfully. A German town. This is a picture of, again, the front of Monte Carlo, the gambling casino, with Bonnie's car parked in front. This is the model village in the heart of The Hague. It's very, very, the buildings are exact replicas of actual buildings throughout Holland.
Legos?
Not Legos. This is one of the organ grinders carts that was very popular throughout Holland when I was D5. A crew practicing on one of the canals in Amsterdam. This will be the 15th, 16th century. A market, just like our farmers market. This is in Delft. That's the Delft Cathedral behind. You can see it's early morning, about 8:30. This is the fishermen's fleet in Volendam, and they've got their nets up for drying. This is the dam on the Zuider Zee. The left-hand side is the ocean, the North Sea, and the right-hand side is land that's being reclaimed. This is called Scheveningen. It's a resort town on the north side of The Hague. This probably could be in May or June. I have a picture of myself on that beach on July 4th, and I said I never wore a coat on July 4th. I never worked on July 4th, and I never wore gloves on July 4th except in Holland. These are people enjoying the summer. The Hague was, they used the expression that summer came on the 5th of June this year. This picture is from my hotel room in The Hague. Also from the hotel room. Typical Dutch architecture. This is a common type of construction, buildings, apartment-like buildings around a central square. This is a carnival that was on Liberty. The Allied forces marks the anniversary of the day the Allied forces liberated Holland. Just like the U.S. There's beauty pageant, I guess, queen. Here they're having their donkey rides. These are all Liberation Day. That's a Punch and Judy show. Carousels. Mozart, I guess. Dutch Horse Guard. This next set of pictures are taken from a window in the Hotel des Andes, where I lived in. A little right of the center of the screen is the Queen's Palace, and she's in there, and they're lining up. She's going to get in a royal coach. You can see it in the background there to open up Parliament. That's the coach. She's not in it. There's the coach coming up to the palace. There it is. Horse Guard moving in. Royal processions like this is the diplomats in the black coaches and so on. The processions take hours and hours just to get started and to go through their parade route. That's probably the Princess coach. Oh, this is my apartment in The Hague. This is actually the sunroom. This is not the living room. And there's my bedroom. And they always kept fresh flowers. These are friends, say Dutch friends, were sailing on an inland sea. The guy sitting down is Roger. He was with Aramco out in Saudi Arabia. It's another, say, Aramco man with his girlfriend. Fishing boats decked out in flags for the holiday. There's one place in Holland, and I think this is it. You can see something like 14 windmills from one spot. How many are there? I don't know. This is the Delft Cathedral. One of the canals in Holland. The Parliament building. This is that beach where you saw the people all wrapped up. They do have some summer, and they do have a lot of Dutch kids, you can see. This is hard to see, but there's that black or that white structure is a lift bridge, and this is a fortress of renown in Holland. I used to know what it was, I've forgotten now. This again is Liberation Day, and this is the embassies, and you can see the American flag, that's the American embassy there. The next is the French, and the Swedish, the British, and so they go on down. The red and yellow way down is Spain, and the white with the white cross on red, that's Switzerland. Somebody trying to get in his house, I guess. That's his mode of transport, is a bicycle. This is Volendam, and this is where the people wear the famous Dutch costumes and the wooden shoes. Now, the wooden shoes are actually just for working in muddy places like that. Some building of renown. A canal. This is the Parliament building. There's usually, there was a fountain, say, in there. Well, there it is. They turned it on first. This is the gates to the area that they call Kuchen Doll, and it means it's a flower area, the national flower and bulb area, they call it bulbs. There's some decorations in flowers. That's all flower. This is a decoration made of tulip petals, and it's the start of a festival. These are the tulip fields. Some of the ones in the front have been picked, but you can see the ones behind that are ready, say, for harvesting. Just acres and acres of these, a lot like Napa Valley. There are various farms that have their own displays, and they cultivate tulip bulbs for distribution around the world. That's a combination British display there. Of course, there's somebody running. Why these different bulbs don't cross-pollinate, I don't know. I mean, why don't you get them mixed up? Or is it just a simple thing like this? This is in about April. It's always cold in Holland and chilly, but very pretty. Close up. Muscari Americana. It just goes on for acres and acres. Well, there's a little Dutch girl feeding ducks. You can see where the deer sculpture comes from. More fields. This is another scene of Dutch windmills. This might be the point where you can see 14, say, from one spot. This is a rural Dutch town built around a cathedral. Up close shot of a windmill. This is an actual operating windmill. When they are in operation, they put cloth on the vanes there so that they turn. This again is Liberation Day in Holland, Festival Day. This is the dike across the Zuiderzee. typical scene in Holland. Operating windmill. This is a picture from my hotel room. This is what they call the beheading block in Delft. It was elevated like that so people could see the action. Again is the Parliament building in The Hague. This is the Fortress of Montreux in Switzerland. This is where they is the site of the imprisonment of, I'm not certain who it was, but that they wrote the poem, The Prisoner of Montreux. It's inside the building. This is in Switzerland. This is on our way up the tram pathway to the bottom of the Matterhorn. See how these little chalets just cling to the side of the mountains. They're all probably 100 years old. Well, there's a new one being built. Shoot that down, didn't it? There are cars up at the top, but there is no road way up to the top. They all have their little flower boxes. Out across the valley. Another scene through the valley. There's the Matterhorn. Bonnie and I walked up about this far. This is the city at the base of the Matterhorn. This is the place where they staged the climb. See the little haylofts around the area for each of the houses. Imagine living on a side hill like that. This is as high as we got. That's the village down below. There's a glacier.
What's the elevation right there?
Oh, it's probably 12,000 feet. That's it. The Matterhorn. This again is back at Montreux. This is the swimming pool at Bergenstock, and that's Bonnie, I think, in far distance over there. And this is where we spent our honeymoon, and Audrey Hepburn and Mel Ferrar were honeymooning there also. This is in May. This is from my room. Yeah, that's Bonnie in the middle. I'm not certain where this is. A snowy day in the Alps. This was in May. This is the gardens in Austria. I don't know how you say it there, Bonnie, on the left, but Schollenberg Castle. And this was the palace of the Austrian Archduke. This is the famous Ferris wheel in Vienna, Austria. It takes an hour to just make one loop. And those cars on there are just like a small box car. You could probably put 30, 40 people in there. This is in Vienna. Not sure what building it is. It's maybe a classical, in typical style.
Is that where they make the sausage?
Could be. This is on the Rhine, as we drove down the Rhine from towards Cologne to Bonn. Bonn, I guess it's called. That's the famous Rhine River traffic, and over on the hill is a little castle where they used to extract tolls, people going up and down the Rhine. Each lord had his own little section. Lots of traffic. Barges. That's it.
No, keep going, I'm just going to go up.
Okay, this again is in Austria. There's a castle up on top of a hill. I believe this is Mozart's home. One of these places in Vienna, outside of Vienna, in Salzburg, you know. This is a dreary day in Cologne, and a lot of Germany, it's always leaden clouds, skies like that, very dreary, and the buildings are black with soot, not very attractive. This is some little canal, might be Cologne again. I was not impressed with Cologne.
Another didn't go.
Again, Cologne. See how gray things are. Not pretty at all. This is the road up to the Eagle's Nest, Hitler's hideout. Seen from up there. Back to the Rhine. That's I guess in the city of Warsaw. This is in Vienna. And then way up in Sweden, you've got two pictures of Sweden. This one and this one. Dancers in Madrid. Scott wouldn't believe it, but that's my car. When I had in Holland, drove through that tunnel. That's it. Eagle's Nest again. This is in Athens, Greece, one of the famous theaters. Diocleses or somebody like that. Same theater. That's the Acropolis with the Parthenon on the top. That's outcropping in right in the middle of Athens. This is leading into the Parthenon and into the Acropolis. Those are steps over on the left. This is the Temple of Nike. Nike, I guess. And all of your shoes are dedicated to that temple. This is one of the theaters from up above, from the Acropolis. It's being rebuilt. You can see it's in a little better shape, the seating area. This again is the Temple of Nike. That's all it is. That's the Parthenon, though. Usually the pictures that you see of it, looks a lot better than that. It got severely damaged in probably about 1880 or so in a war between the Greeks and the Turks. This is the Parthenon again. What they call the Elgin marbles was the frieze on the triangular top of the temple. All those were taken and are in London, in the museum in London. The Greeks are still trying to get it back. This is a famous temple. I forget what it is, but these statues are unique. There's one that is a replica, and you can see which one it is. It's the orange one right in the middle. There it is again. If I remembered my Greek architectural history, I could tell you what temple, but I've forgotten. There they are. And again, you can see, say, the one statue that is not real. In fact, I think they've taken that, and again, that's probably in the museum in London. Looking down from the top of the Acropolis. Another scene. I was there on two occasions, one with Bonnie and say one with my mother and father, and you can see the same pictures a couple of times. I guess that's when Bonnie took a picture of me. That's when I had hair. It's the Royal Palace in Athens, and you can see the nurse, the nannies out with the kids. Military parade in Athens. That's the U.S. 6th Fleet out in the harbor at Athens. Some more of the naval forces. Top of the Acropolis again. It's me at our hotel. Miss Bonnie. This now is in Egypt, and this is one of the lesser sphinx on the outskirts of Cairo. This is one of the statues. It's normally a standing, but they put it in this position so people could inspect it. There's Bonnie in one of the tombs. This is a stepped pyramid. This was prior to the regular flat-surfaced pyramids that we see. The one on the right is even older, and it's in a lot greater state of decay. Guess who's riding there? Miss Bonnie and her camel. One of the pyramids were all built of rough stone, and then they were encased with a finished, and they've taken the finished stone to use it in other buildings, with the exception of the little bit at the top of the middle pyramid. You see how rough the pyramids are? From a distance they don't look that. Those stones are, you can see the little boy way over there, probably 3 foot high. There's Bonnie with her sunglasses. I went up about halfway. Can you see the size of the stones? I went inside, Bonnie wouldn't. There's a Sphinx. He doesn't look as stately as in other pictures. They make him more dramatic. There we are. See, his paws are just built up of brick and then cased. The rest of them is sandstone or a solid piece. This tells who he is and what he did. This is the Nile, a view from our room on the Nile. And this is the gate to, I think we're inside the palace, Farouk's palace. These are gardens out on the Nile Delta, out in Alexandria. There's some beautiful gardens there. And there's a felucca on the Nile in the background. This is the Royal Palace in Alexandria. Bonnie with a guide. Now this is in Turkey, and this is now a Muslim mosque, and you can see the minarets on the side. Before that it was a Christian cathedral to Saint Sophia. Now it's called Hagia Sophia. And the Muslims, of course, a lot of people do not realize, believe in the saints and seers of the Christian and Jewish religion. This is in Beirut, and that's the St. Francis Hotel, not St. Francis, St. George's Hotel in Beirut. This was during the 30s, 40s, and 50s was one of the top hotels in the world. It was quite nice when we were there. This is the patio area. US 6 Fleet is out in the harbor. These are some rooms at the city of Beirut. And there's a rock formation in the city of Beirut. That's it. Yeah. This is in Saudi Arabia. This is on the Persian Gulf, and these are Arab dhows, fishing boats at low tide. This is the approach to a island city, I think it's Jubail, off the coast of Saudi Arabia in the Persian Gulf. The reeds in the front is part of a netting system that when the tide goes out, the fish behind it are caught. Those are some Arab dhows over on the right as we approach the little island city. The boats, this is a boat that we came over from the mainland on. They can only come in so far. Then they would greet us with the donkey carts, and these are a bunch of Americans climbing onto the donkey carts and to go into shore. I guess we could have waded it. It's up to our waist about. Here they're swimming around the dhow. That water is so salty that you can't sink. I mean, you almost like sitting in the water. The local kids. Here we're on our donkey carts, about ready to take a trip into the island city. Typical downtown thoroughfare. Here we're going across the open space from the waterfront on into the oasis, which you see in the background. Going through a date orchard.
You're bouncing around.
Yeah. Coming into the village. See how they stand the carts on end, say when they're not being used, make room of space. There's a goat pen in front. There they're washing the donkeys, and this is their common drinking water. The guy on the left was a pilot that flew into the small planes into the interior, and he was killed in a crash there shortly after that. There's Miss Bonnie and her pupils in downtown Jubail. Fishing boats, and they've got some kind of pots or baskets along the dock that probably put the fish in. The guy going up to get baits climbs that with no, just a hand holds on the trunk itself and the places for his feet. But these guys don't like their picture taken. And the stick shows that they're shepherds. They don't use a crook, but they just a little stick like that. There's a dhow going. It's got some nets, fish nets, traps on the top area there. They're motor powered, but they do go by sail too, and they got the sail, the mast down. Other mariners. Here we are in the donkey carts again, going across the low flats. Got his laundry out, fish net up on, or trap up on top. See, he's got a little pump there that they pump the bilge or the water that gets into the bottom of the boat. And he's getting a can of water there for something or other. Maybe he's sounding for depth. This might be downtown Hoof. This is an Arab dhow. We're, say, in another one on our way to the island of Jubail. This is a fishing dhow. You can see on the top he's got his fish trap, and of course he's got his laundry out. And the guy on the left is bailing some water from the sea for some purpose. And just the right of that is a pump that they use to get the water out of the bottom of the hold of the ship. This is in the city of Hoof, downtown thoroughfare. So not much Western influence there. Just a couple trucks. Looking in the opposite direction. You can see the old fort crumbling away down in the middle. Different sections of the town are divided by gates through the walls, and the old king, when he solidified his reign, there was an emir that as they went through one of these gates, somebody was about ready to kill the king, and he stepped in front of him. It was quite a revered hero. This is Americans with their cameras, of course, shopping. And notice over on the right, though, the coffee pots that he put out to get the Americans' attraction, and there's some rugs and things like that. And this is a part of a bazaar. One of the side streets with a local inhabitant, followed by a policeman. This is, there's merchants that sell wood. They had very little in the way of gas stoves or anything at all like that. They cooked everything is with wood, and people go out for miles and miles around and collect wood and then come down and sell it here in the wood bazaar. This is the old fortress, just like out of Bogest. There's Miss Bonnie about ready to storm it. Of course, the fortress is not in use. Oh, you can hear people walking around. That's not thunder, that's Bonnie upstairs. A minaret, local architecture. Part of the fort again with that same minaret, And that dome place would be the mosque where they would worship. And if a car comes, stops, and they don't have any gas or something, they just leave it and walk away. And it's a relic. You see those all around. It shows how old these buildings are. There's very little new construction. The fort and the moat, what could be more typical, and the round towers. Here's a guy, the potter, and he's made his jugs there. You can see they're still damp from the just being thrown. This is a baker. Can't see too well, but he's got a piece of pita bread. Hoops. As Scott used to go to the bakery and ask for hoops, which is bread. Americans watching him. Oh, that's the potter, yeah. He's making his wares there. And outside that city this is the desolate desert, sand dunes. That's a road that we put in. It was one of my projects, actually. This old rock formation show that there was soil to the top of that at one time is eroded away, and not washed away but blown away in sand. There's sand caves. See somebody down at the bottom there. It's next. Now this is the top of that area, and you can walk along, and people have been walking there and crashed down through the ceilings there. Gotta be careful. This is a nomadic tent. They're always black for some reason, the tents. Here is some Bedouins. They travel from one end of the peninsula to the other. See the little girl in red over there? She would be a young girl because she's not wearing the full black robe. And see, one camel has got their firewood on it that they take along with them. They'll pick it up as they go. It's another Bedouin camp. Fits right in with the little bushes or brush. Single rider. Now under that red blanket, she probably got a baby or so. Here's in the camel market. Down one of the streets. Yes, oh, we're in a Mercedes here. Here's another of the gates that divide the city in different sections. These camels, they don't seem to be attended, but they're all going in one direction, so might be somebody in front leading. I don't know what these, every so often you see these square buildings set aside from everything else. Certainly it's not toilets or anything like that, because they just go right out on the street wherever they have to. local homes. Here again is in the markets, guy selling pots and pans and what have you. This is where I bought that Arab rifle that I got. And the donkeys there, the front legs are dyed in henna, and the men dye their beards in henna for some reason, and the women's hands are just that color, that using the saffron and henna all the time. An oasis. And this is a bath. It's not a bath, it's just a reflecting pool in one of the buildings that Aramco used for some of the senior people to learn Arabic. They came right down and lived in the building and just as if they were Arabs. And they spoke nothing but Arabic. I never got to that stage. Here we are visiting that villa, Calm Villas. Back to the wood market. Bonnie is to the right of the three women. There she is about, there's her mortar and pestle that she's got, which is upstairs. You see what's her loop for the day. And this is a gas injection plant that I was the project engineer for, and it's in Angdar, and this is after it was built, of course. We did do some things. When we moved out into an area, that plant was probably 50 miles from town, we would set up a camp, and this is the what we call the veracity, and it's where 4 men lived. Here's a temporary camp going out to be set up at a remote location. Could be a drilling well or something like that. This is the clubhouse in Agcake, where Bonnie and I lived. It's part of the clubhouse, I believe. This is the schoolhouse. And this is some of the industrial facilities. And there's always fires or flares. At the base of that fire over there is a big red flame. It's where they're burning off and gas that they separate from the oil. Tremendous waste of energy. But any place you go, it always smells sulfuric, and you get it into your pores, and you can smell it on yourself. This is Bonnie's home. This is where she lived. Which one of the rooms, I'm not certain. This is the hospital. This was the first building that I was associated with, and this is one that I was a construction engineer for. We designed this one in The Hague, and then I took the plans and we went out to Saudi and built it. This again is the entrance to the clubhouse. Funny, we don't have any people walking around. Well, here on the ball field they're having donkey races, and this would be a celebration, 4th of July or something like that. And they're selling hamburgers backwards over there. You can see a lot of Americans there. Very few Saudis. There are some Saudis. If they are, they're usually royalty or something like that. There's a little brownie Girl Scout and some Cub Scouts over there. Here again is part of the donkey races. This is part of the production fields and in Abqaiq in Saudi Arabia. More of the production fields with those are called flares, where the gas is being burned off, and that's constant all around. You can see this is some of the rock formations in Saudi. It's not all just sand dunes. Most of the desert is just rock, wind-blown rock, bare of any vegetation at all. This is a rather large nomads camp. There's 5 or 6 tents in there. Usually don't see that many. They usually travel in smaller groups. Rock formation. That one's going to come down on that power line someday. I don't think we've got anything to worry about in the immediate future. Radio tower up on top of a rock formation. This is in the camp of Udaliyah, where Bonnie taught. We'll see her school here in a minute. This is rock formations around Udaliyah. This one day, and probably now, is the central operation. They've moved to central operation from Dhahran down about 150 miles south, and they've built a new camp. There's nothing here right at the moment. They're starting the water tower, the utilities, and things like that. This is the first camp housing. The little red schoolhouse in the middle was Bonnie's domain. She lived in half of it and taught in the other half of it. This is a scene from her schoolhouse. Now all this is being laid out in streets and so on, so it will be a large city one day. This is the fence around her schoolhouse. The radio tower in the background, and the schoolhouse on the right, left of me. That's the bowling alley, one-lane bowling alley. That's Bonnie's houseboy. He kept the house clean for her and did gardening, all that kind of stuff. Here he is again. Here's her 4 pupils, 4 students. There, well, the little boy got in there. Was there a boy in the other picture?
Nope.
There they are at the school. More Saudi scenes. There's an oil separator unit in the background. They call them GOSP. There it is again. This is downtown Abqaiq. Wasn't bad living. This is the production facilities. This again is one of the holiday festivals that we had in Beirut, or not in Beirut, in Abqaiq. It's at the ball field. You can see the scoreboard in the background. The Arabs are from right to left, so that's why I've got this scene in this way, right to left. Again, a holiday festival, fish and chips, what have you. Here's the Dhahran cheerleaders or drum major. That's in the band in the background. Bonnie taught school here after we were married. I think they go to 8th grade or 7th grade, something like that. And then the kids go off to Beirut for the rest of high school. Girl Scouts, Brownies, Cub Scouts, Miss Daran, Combo. This is the intermediate camp. I'm not sure actually where this is. This is the main headquarters. This is what they call the new office building. This is one I helped design in New York City, and went to The Hague, and we did the construction drawings there, and then I took the construction drawings out and was the construction engineer when it was built. This is the hospital in Daran. I had some work. This is built before I got there, but I did work on some of the additional wings. You can see the finger wings for the hospital. This is the headquarter building. You can see all the company cars. They drove nothing but Mercedes. Believe it or not, that's an air conditioning plant. All of the houses in this area were cooled by that air conditioning plant. This is a place where the visiting dignitaries stayed. This is where the king would stay when he came. There's a oil rig that's a portable oil rig. It's in position right at the moment, but they can knock that down and transport it. Same one. Here's Bonnie. Bonnie's on the left. They have stopped to take pictures of that rock formation. This is our swimming pool in Apgate. We spent a lot of time there. This is the Arab Mosque in Apgate. If you can look closely, you'll see things on the tree. Those are locusts. We were there at the time of the 7-year locust. You can see them flying in the air. But in 10 minutes, I'll strip that vegetation right off that tree. See how the lower branches, they've already cleaned it. You can't go, you can't breathe when you go out there without inhaling. You put the women, biggest problem was the locusts would get in their hair. See how they've cleaned the top of that tree? Now they won't do it to the oleander. Of course, oleander is poisonous. Here they are on the ground. We go from this is the arrival of the king. He came to pay a visit to Daran. This is some of his montage. Notice the dagger with the one guy. That's the king passing us, giving us his benediction, or blessing, I guess it is. Here's a very important emir. You notice the henna in his beard. There's an awful lot of black guards. This is the Emir of Abqaiq. He was a servant to the previous king, and when the king was dying, he set him free. In fact, he was a slave, and he set him free and made him the Emir of this little dinky water hole out in the desert that happened to be where all the oil was. So he's become quite famous. That's a picture of the king. That's not, I didn't take that. Here's another arrival, but he's in the black car behind the troops here. And they set up a chant. It's really eerie. It's a wailing, you know, when he comes in.
Could you give us a little?
Huh?
Could you demonstrate it?
No, I can't. Here's his guards with their rifle. That Cadillac is moving, and those are guys riding on stepboards on the side. I got the truck. We didn't get any closer to him than that. This is some scenes of my tour in Korea. This is Camp Stoneman outside San Francisco, where we were staged. We drive by this every once in a while. We go up to see Pat. This is on the boat going past Alcatraz, troop ship going out, going by Nob Hill, San Francisco, approaching the Golden Gate, getting close to the Golden Gate, closer, and gone. Troop ship. Seagulls following. We were throwing them scraps of food. This is in Japan. This is not in Korea. This is troop quarters, staging quarters in Japan. This is in Korea. This is my tent over here on the left. Radar, and I had that one together. Looks just like MASH, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
There I am with signpost to, I think what, I got my hand on one to New York or something like that. We were at a station at an air base at that time. There I am ready to go on up. There's Dolores. This was a crash, jet crash. Oops. That's K2 Air Base, meaning Korea 2. This is flying into an air base at Busan. That's a Turkish jet with the stars on it next to a U.S. jet. I run out of film on these jets. That's a B-29. Now that's a Flying Fortress. Phantom, that was a jet, Phantom jet, that was a Navy jet. There they are. There's a Corsair with his armaments. Navy Corsair is ready to take off. Helicopter. That's a Korean P-51. He's got his arm. There's a wrecked, I don't know what type of plane that is. It came in and did a cartwheel, and they righted it there. There's some of the flak that he got. There's another jet crash. That's all we have. This is my crew. Had some firefights up in the mountains there. This is a Korean garden, temple garden. Here's a temple. Look at the bushes in them. Pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the carving on that. I don't know how old this is. It's in great shape. You see the Buddhist, gilded Buddhist inside. Buddha, I guess it is. That's a school behind. Mama-san praying. Some icons.